Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Rebecca with Red True Crime. So, welcome back. So apparently my Dr. Umar um thing went very well, and people have been subscribing off and on all day with all kinds of different comments, which have all been positive about what I had to say. So I'm back. So we're gonna talk about him some more because why not? Because I've spent the day just like listening to other people's takes on him. And this guy has been doing this crap for like a decade, if not longer. And pardon me. He's been doing this for like a decade, if not longer. And he has just given everybody nothing but content for a very long time. I have come across a couple of YouTube pages where their entire page channel is, like, dedicated to just him, and these people have been I know one person has been doing it for, like, 8 years, and it's like, wow, like, wow. And, sorry, I'm getting messages everywhere, but it's insane, because my thing is, how can someone give you that much content to literally dedicate a whole channel to? Because like, when I started this channel, it's a true crime channel, just to remind everybody, but when I started this channel, it was dedicated to true crime, and the first case I covered was Mercy Carmichael, and for those of you who are new, she is a mother of 5 from Greensboro. Well, she's from High Point, which is, like, right outside of Greensboro, but she went missing, and no one has seen her, no one has heard from her. And we're talking, like, almost 2 years now that she's been missing. And, yeah, it's been crazy. And for the longest time, like, my entire channel was just about her for, like, the first few months. And people actually accused me of being obsessed with her case, and it's like, am I obsessed, or am I just being very, very thorough? There is there is a difference. So hopefully you guys can hear me because, like I said, I'm on a different computer, and making sure my volumes and all that are where they're supposed to be, because I don't know if you can hear me. Bear with me just a moment. And we're gonna okay. Hopefully you can hear me more now. So, okay, back to my ramblings. So, apparently, Mr. Dr. Umar, one of the controversies that have come up with him, and this is not really a controversy per se, it's just he's, like, airing his dirty laundry out, Like, he has a habit of just, like, picking up random women and, like, scamming them out of, like, things like money, um, getting them to work for him, or, like, pride, you know? Um, take your pick. But yeah, so this woman named Siobhan, I think her name is, or Lachey, I don't even remember her name. He met her, they were together in an intimate nature, and, things got weird, I guess, because she went on social media saying he loved her, he promised to marry her, and she took care of his mother and all these things. And then he's like, "Huh, no." You know, he basically described how she met with him like 3 or 4 times, and they did things, calling calling she gummy beared my shabanga stick. I'm like, that's some new stuff on me. I'm up there in years, and I was married for over 20 years, so I've heard some terms. That's a new one, you know? And I lived that club lifestyle for a long time, so that is a new one on me. But Let me see if I can get this to pull up so you guys can hear it. It's insane, like, how he was describing this, and, yeah, it's just weird. And I again did more research. It looks like I'm the only Caucasian that is talking about him, and the fact that I might as well call myself a snow bunny because that's what he calls all white women, snow bunnies. And yeah, it's insane. Let's see here. It's this guy. He did a let me find the guy. Because he did a whole thing. I mean, he's another one um that just has done a whole lot of stuff. And it's like, okay. And he was talking about he was talking about the woman and all kinds of stuff, the girlfriend, and apparently he's got multiple girlfriends, and he has this habit of just finding girlfriends and getting them to do things for him, and oh, here it is right here. Let me
Spoiled milk. Your yoni.
here we
So
go.
let me get back to this. Let me get back to
So,
this.
let me pull this up so you guys can see
The
what
first
I'm
week of
looking at.
March,
Uh,
my travels took me to Sweden. I was in Sweden,
okay.
Stockholm, Sweden. And as y'all know, while I was in Stockholm, Sweden, my daughter, Baby Smurf,
Why he calls her baby Smurf, I have
she
no idea.
decided to quote unquote expose me while I was in Stockholm, Sweden. While I was in Stockholm, Sweden, the woman who I contracted with to care for my mother turned out to be a demon in disguise and is now one of my top haters and detractors.
Okay. So let's start with a couple things here. He finessed, I'm going to say finessed here. Finessed, um, finesse, brainwashed, threatened, coerced, any words you want to use here. But people of black ancestry into donating to him to open up a school. Now, it has been reported in multiple places that over time, it's been reported that he has accumulated probably close to $2 million. And he's only reported like not even a third of it to the IRS. Now, the buildings he bought in Wilmington, Delaware, he paid 400,000 for, and he has not been paying the taxes on it, and he's not been paying the not vacancy um, things on it, and or the utilities, because apparently he had to pay the city of Wilmington like 70 some $1,000 because the buildings are not occupied, and taxes and utilities that have not been paid on this building in the least last 4 or 5 years. Now you've raised almost 2 mil. You have not renovated this building to the point where it looks like it did when you bought it. Um, it looks like it did like when you first bought it all those years ago. So where's the money? But here he says here, I was in Sweden. I was in Sweden. I was in Sweden. And let me tell you, that thing where he repeats things 3 freaking times is very annoying because I heard him say once in another thing, he's like, I say things 3 times because black people don't listen. And this is so here's the he's calling you all stupid. This man who was supposed to be like a prince of the people and this psychologist and all this wonderful man who's supposed to bring all the black boys to the school and teach them and all this other crap. He's literally calling you stupid. Okay. I have to repeat things 3 times, yada, 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 yada. This is what he's saying. So I find it annoying. I find it demeaning and I find it asinine, you know. But anyway, he says here, I went to Stockholm, Sweden. Well, there we go. There's some of the money that didn't go to the school right there. And then he's hired this woman to take care of his mother. Now, what's wrong with his mother? I have no idea, but she's physically ill. So let's hear more of his story.
So I just think it's very fortuitous that Stockholm, Sweden, and shout out to all my Stockholm, Sweden Africans. Thanks to all my Stockholm, Sweden Africans. I just find it interesting that my daughter and this Kansas City hood rat, that both of them were in the works against me at the same time.
It's a plot.
Okay, it wasn't at the same time either, but again, he's trying to paint the narrative that Lene and his
And Lene is the girlfriend, I think. But just before we go any further, let me do a shout out to Lennon Honor. This is his channel. This is the one. This is the video I pulled off of his channel that I'm showing you all that he got and he commented on, and he's got comments throughout this. But yeah, so he's convinced that his daughter and this woman that he claims is not his girlfriend, but she says she was his girlfriend, were plotting against him and all this other stuff. So, and he said they did it at the same time.
daughter somehow conspiring against him. He's really out there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I do care for my mother.
That's good to know.
Who I love more than anything in this world.
See the body language, self-soothing? You see what he did there?
Yeah, he does this too throughout the video.
Interesting that my daughter and this Kansas City hood rat, that both of them were in the works against me at the same time.
Paranoia.
Now, I do care for my mother.
See that right there? Self-soothing.
He's talking about
Now, you can also
that.
look at the thumb. Okay, because Lynette talked about how his mother was saying that she broke his thumb.
Oh, that's not good.
Who I love more than anything in this world. And for those of you who care for your parents, you understand where I'm coming from.
Okay, this is to get sympathy. Again, he's over in Africa right now, not taking care of his mother.
This is information that I didn't want to share, but I think it is appropriate to the conversation.
Now, this is, let me say this. This is where the person who posted this is wrong. He's not in Africa at the moment. He was like in Philadelphia, or he was in Wilmington, because at some point some random dude on the streets like, "Hey, you're the guy from the internet that begs for money," and they talk and have a conversation. So, he's not in Africa now. He might be in Africa now, but I doubt it. But I will say this, and we're gonna go into the Africa thing here in a minute. But he's got an escape plan in the works. I truly believe he does.
Finish this conversation now. I'll finish it later because we do have some things getting done today. So, I do not know if my firstborn is still with us in the flesh or not. People have been,
And that's disturbing. That is really disturbing right there. What is it bigger? So he is alluding to that his oldest daughter has threatened to unalive herself. He is talking about that, and that's insane. Like, get a hold of your kid, find out what's going on.
texting me that she may have unalived herself. God forbid. I'm going to hope for the best that no such thing has happened. And I'm going to speak to Baby Smurf's situation in a minute. I'm going to
see that's sad in of itself. He's not even concerned whether or not she's alive or not. Why would he even get her?
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of that video. But he goes on about his daughter possibly unaliving herself. Not really, doesn't seem like he's showing any concern whatsoever. I mean, I have a child with psychiatric issues, so I would not be going live on YouTube and say, "Oh, my daughter may have heard herself, Baby Smurf, whatever." No, I wouldn't have done that. So
online and talk like that, wouldn't you want to know that?
Right.
He doesn't care. That's crazy.
Speak to that. But I just want to lay the groundwork by saying that all of this began while I was in Stockholm, Sweden. All of this began while I was in Stockholm, Sweden. All of this began while I was in Stockholm, Sweden.
Now we go back to the 3-time thing.
I've been taking care of my mother for the past 7.5 years.
Yeah.
See the self-soothing behavior here. Now his nephew said something a little bit different though. Okay, but it is what it is. We'll just say 7 years.
Spring of 2018. Many of y'all know that in January of 2018, after returning from my second trip, to Japan and China.
Where more
In
money was spent.
January of 2018, after returning from my second trip to Japan and China, I had to stand trial with charges that were put upon me by the Pennsylvania State Board of Psychology that were motivated by YouTubian struggle streamers
Mm,
and Dr. Umar detractors.
there we go again. Struggle streamer presented right here.
My
Me.
mother has multiple sclerosis.
Oh, she's a mess. Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Multiple sclerosis. Okay. She's diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. We've always known that, but it didn't begin to affect.
Yeah, by the way, we got 1,800 people.
Okay. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit so we can get to where he's insulting the woman itself.
Mama had a child.
Comes first. When I went to Sweden, there was a young lady.
Let's go.
Medical information without permission. 5, Black parent consultation. The reason we're doing information makes her nice.
He doesn't take responsibility. Some nerve.
For 10 years.
And sometimes you guys
They're trying to destroy
wow.
me. You picked the wrong one. You want war? I'm ready for war. Ogun is ready.
He's so feminine. He bring up his little bracelets and shit. Here you go. Let me stay.
That Kansas City throat goat
Mm.
built like a sack of old laundry.
I can't believe he's talking like this, Umar.
Built like a sack of old, you fat, funky. Let me stay within character.
Mm.
See that?
Let me stay within character. Only worthy. You are only worthy of shining the Shango, you dusty hoe. You are only.
Ooh. Whoa.
Okay. So we have an idea of what he does when a woman, a female, ticks him off. How dare you speak on him? How dare you say anything negative? How dare you speak your truth? And then he degrades her down to like you're a throat goat. That's a new one on me too. Throat goat. Yeah. This guy has got great alliteration. Let me say this. When you have someone that is capable of words, of talking people, charming people, shaming people, they're dangerous people. You know, Dr. Umar Johnson has a gift, has what we call the gift gift of gab. This is usually people who are in the church, people who are in sales, people who run cults. They are the ones who are able to talk people into doing things they normally would not do. And this man has spent the better part of probably 2 decades convincing people to give him money for a school that is never going to open. Buildings that are going to be sold, buildings that are going to be auctioned off, and all this money is gone. Now, he has chosen to get dual citizenship in the US, which is because he's born here, so he automatically has that. But he has been granted citizenship in the country of Ghana, which is in Africa. So he's got that too. Whoa, what the hell? Now, I did look up Ghana's extradition treaties and whatnot. Now, they do not harbor people with, tax criminal law. This is Ghana is not the country you want to go to. So whether, he's going to go there before he gets charged with anything and just stay there or, that his plan, he's stupid. He doesn't have a good plan at all. None. Because they're going to come get him or Ghana's going to send his ass back. I don't know. But I truly, truly believe this man has a cult mentality, and this is what he's trying to do. I mean, he definitely has a narcissistic issue going on right there. There's a thing called narcissistic personality disorder, and I truly believe that if you look that disorder up in a medical textbook, you're going to see a picture of Dr. Umar Johnson. Yeah, it's going to say that because people with narcissistic personality disorder think they're incapable of doing anything wrong, do not take accountability for anything, think they're right, want to be in control. I mean, I can go on and on and on with characteristics. They're aggressive, they can be violent. I mean, This man really needs to be grabbed and, like, evaluated on a mental health level, and if not, if anything, incarcerated because he's been scamming people for decades, you know? And I truly believe that his racist rhetoric is gonna be the downfall of the Black American people because, one thing like I said, I'm not against a school for just Black students, I'm not at all, because they exist, fine. But when you teach any type of hate speech, I don't care if it's coming from a Black person, white person, Jewish person, Latino person, I don't care. If you're talking hate speech against another culture, that is racism. And racism is not something you're born with, it is something that is learned. And that is part of his problem because when he starts talking about people, like I saw him on another podcast and the guy, it was a bunch of African American men, and he found out one of the hosts was involved with a white woman. And he went the hell off. And the guy was like, look, she's actually Portuguese. He's like, oh my God, the Portuguese are the ones who started the slave trade in the 1400s. I'm like, yeah. And he just wouldn't let it go. And he kept saying, "She's racist. Racism is in her blood, because she's Portuguese and it's in her blood." It came I'm like, "It doesn't work like that, you idiot." It is again a learned behavior. It is something that you're around and you learn that being around it, you know? Um, because he went on and on, and then somebody countermanded him saying, "Well, what about the Africans who sold us into slavery to begin with?" And he didn't really have an answer on that. He kinda like, "Oh, you got a good point," but then he, like, changed topic to something else. So, between his comments on the Austin Metcalf case with Carmelo Anthony basically saying that, black people need to start stabbing white people if we piss you off, or, sorry, throat. There's that. I mean, it's the fact that he does not think interracial relationships should happen, which, okay, fine, that's your opinion. You don't have to do it, but don't be yelling at other people for doing it. Um, he scares me, I mean, because anybody that has any type of hate mentality, which he obviously does, should not be influencing children and should not be around other people's children to influence. You know, um, you don't want that mentality. We're in a modern day and age where this type of closed-mindedness should not exist because we don't have time for that. There's enough issues going on against people that this closed-minded racist nonsense needs to stop. I don't care if you're white, black, Portuguese, African, I don't care who the hell you are, but if you dislike a group of people because of their skin color, their religion, their culture, you're a racist. Done. I don't care. You just can't do that. And Dr. Umar Johnson is by far one of the biggest racists I've ever effing seen on YouTube. And he is giving example after example after example after example of this. And if any of you all thought he was a good guy to teach your kid, you all need to have your heads examined. Seriously, because there's no way on earth I'd let him around any of my kids, and my kids are mixed race. And no, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it at all. I don't know how this man ever taught in a school to begin with, but or worked in a school. I don't think he taught. I know supposedly he was a principal and supposedly he was an assistant principal. I have not been able to find evidence of that. I'm sure, it's out there, but this is not somebody I would want around my child with that kind of mindset. I just wouldn't. Simple as that. So, yeah, he's an angry dude, and I think he is going to take the money and run if he has access to it because I know everything got frozen and he's got liens against everything. So I think once he gets his hands on some actual money, he's out the door, he's gone, and that's it. He's going to Ghana. I think Ghana is his backup plan. I think Ghana is what the plan is. And, we're not and he's gonna go back on YouTube, call everybody a struggle streamer, which dude, look in the mirror. And that's what's gonna happen. And no one's gonna get their money back. No one's gonna get any type of justice because he's got a backup plan and he's running to Africa. That is what I think. So those of you that have donated money for this school, I am so sorry. You are never gonna see a dime of that coming back to you. Um, that school's not gonna open, but there are so many other schools like what he was trying to do that are open, that are successful, and that are actually giving a well-rounded curriculum to the students. I would check them out. I would donate money to those organizations because they are legit and they are successful and they have records proving how successful they are. And that is what I would do. But yeah, I can't wait for the IRS to be done auditing him and charging him with tax evasion or defrauding a charity or whatever they want to come up with, because something needs to be done. The dude needs to be stopped and he needs to be like made to be quiet because repeating the three, I mean, that is just so demeaning. I don't know how anybody else doesn't pick up on that, how demeaning that is to anyone he does that to. And the fact that he openly said, "Black people don't listen to you, gotta repeat things 3 times." Like, what the absolute hell? That's insane. And that is so mean and that is so demeaning. And the fact that he is so anti anybody who's not black, and the fact that he is just, "I'm gonna do this and I'm defrauding my own people who I claim to be helping," is the biggest miscarriage of justice in the world because, oh my god. I mean, I just I'm at a loss for words as to what else to say about him because he just needs to be stopped and he needs to go somewhere, and P people need to stop giving him money, because seriously, you're funding his escape plan. Do not give him any more money, please, out there. Look at the other institutions out there that are doing basically what he was trying to do, but actually are doing it. They're not racist and, they're succeeding. So, there you go. So, I'm gonna hop off here because these are the ramblings of a snow bunny, as I say. And this snow bunny is out. But those of you that have subscribed to the channel, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. And I'm waiting for Umar Johnson to hop on some YouTube thing and start calling my ass out because he seems to do that to anybody who talks about him in a negative fashion. But I am small potatoes compared to some of the other ones. So if somebody wants to send this to him, by all means, go right ahead. I am ready for his response because dude's a tool. And I'm gonna hop off here. But, I will be back on here with some actual crime stuff, because there's things popping off everywhere, and, I will be here to report on it. So everybody have a good night. Thank you again for the support, all the new people who've come on, and those of you that are watching that have not subscribed, please subscribe, please, because it doesn't cost anything, and it, puts the algorithm out there and all that good stuff, and, when I do have some things that are actually legit criminal stuff that needs to get out there, like missing people, kids, all that, this helps. So please subscribe, comment, like, all that good stuff, and everybody have a great night. Please be safe, and as I always say, be weird, be rude, be safe, because when you're weird and rude, they will not take you, I guarantee. So, good night, everyone. Thank you again, and bye.